Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of your IGCSE Tutors. Today I will be discussing this Cambridge IGCSE Economics Paper 2 Section B. A. Identify two possible opportunity costs of producing primary sector products. So in total there are three sectors. First one is primary, second one is secondary, and the third one is tertiary. So you can write, as primary sector is already stated, you can write secondary sector and tertiary sector products. Question B. Explain two policy measures which may reduce poverty. First one, you can write about progressive tax rate. Higher proportion of income tax is charged on higher income group compared to middle or lower income group. This is the definition of progressive tax rate. So you need to set out the definition first, and then you can explain what is the effect. So lower or middle income group can have higher disposable income, which is the income after tax, which reduces relative poverty. And also there's a tip, in order to stand out for your response, you need to be specific on which type of poverty you are referring to, either relative poverty or absolute poverty. So it's better that you be specific. And second point, you can write about the government to provide state benefits. For example, unemployment benefits, which allows unemployed people to use the money to purchase necessities and reduce absolute poverty. So remember to be specific. And there are definitely other things you can write about, but these are the two that I share with you. C. Analyze how the closure of firms may harm consumers. First is the existence of monopoly. Since there's no or less competition, monopoly can abuse their power and charge higher price to earn higher revenues, while consumers need to pay higher price, which increases cost of living. And second point, the remaining firm becomes inefficient. When the firms produce more output to satisfy the consumer demand, average cost of production increases, resulting in diseconomies of scale, further raising price. So this economies of scale referring to when a firm increases in size and expands its production, its average cost of production increases. Alright, you don't have to write out this definition, but do keep this definition in mind when you're writing it. But since there's no competition, the firm has no incentive to improve productivity. So this means that there's no competition, so the firm will not want to improve its productivity because there's no point, because they can do whatever they want since there's no competition. And third point is a reduction in consumer choice. Consumers have less or no choice and must buy from the remaining firm, as there's only one or a few supplier. And the quality of goods may be poor, resulting in decrease in standard of living. Next, question D. Discuss whether or not a government should encourage people to walk to school and work. So, for this question, it is not necessary for you to link to the question about talking about Mexico City. Well, if you want to link, it's okay, but personally, I won't link to Mexico City. So it's just a general question. So the first point is walking is healthy, as people live longer and are more fit to work. This increases life expectancy and labor productivity. And when people is healthier, this reduces healthcare costs, as people require less public healthcare services, which allows the government to allocate this fund for healthcare to other parts of the economy, for example, education or national defense and many more. Second, walking can reduce external costs. Less cars on the road can reduce traffic congestion, which reduces the external costs, and less cars means less emitting of toxic gases, which reduces the pollution. Therefore, the environment is cleaner and this improves the people's health. Okay. And these are the arguments for why government should not encourage people to walk. So walking will cause lower productivity as people feel tired after walking. So they will have decrease in productivity when studying or working. So this may lead to lower output being produced, which results in lower GDP. Second point, it will lead to increase in unemployment. So please be specific of which industry will have a decrease in employment, because take note that it's not the entire country, so you have to be specific for this. So now people walk and reduce the demand for public transport, and this causes structural unemployment in public transports. For example, the bus driver and railway driver. So this increases absolute poverty. And government needs to provide more unemployment benefits, which increases financial burden. Alright, there are many more points that you can write. So here is an overview of how you can structure your answer and connect all the points in a fluent way. So question 3A. Identify the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. So microeconomics is the study of individual markets, and macroeconomics is the study of the whole economy. B. Explain how less education can reduce a person's lifetime earnings. First point is that they have lower qualification, which means they have lower education, maybe they don't have a degree. So they are less likely to become skilled labor that can earn higher salary and so has a less chance to be promoted. Second, they are lack of financial awareness and planning. So they may spend most of the money they earn for family expenses and save less. C. Analyze how the introduction of a minimum wage could affect unemployment. So before going into the point, you can write the definition. So a minimum wage is the lowest amount that an employer can pay a worker. Alright, first point, firms' cost of production increases. So when this scenario happens, firm will respond by cutting costs. So first, they may lay off some employees, so this increases unemployment. Second, higher minimum wages give incentive for worker to increase productivity. So this encourage firms to increase outputs. And when the workers increase productivity, the firm wants to expand the business, so they will hire more workers and employment increases. And third, minimum wage will encourage people to seek jobs and reduce frictional unemployment. And you can give a contrast. However, if minimum wage is set below unemployment benefits, people will have no incentive to work, so no effect on unemployment. So what this sentence means is that, so remember, unemployment benefits is a state benefits given by government to unemployed people. So for example, the unemployment benefits is $2,500, while the minimum wage is $2,300. So while the unemployment benefits is already so high, people will not have the incentive to seek a job. and work. So this is what means by this sentence. And here's a tip for you. So you can always give a contrasting view in one point to show your argument, like an counter argument. Alright, let's move on. D. Discuss whether or not an economy with a high inflation rate will have a low economic growth rate. So first, yes. First point, cost push inflation discourages further investment. If inflation is caused by cost push, the firm's cost of production increases. For example, wages of workers increases. So this will deter firms from increasing output and further expanding their business so that to prevent the further reduction in profits. As a result, there's a reduction in investment and lead to a slower economic growth. Second, high inflation makes the country's good less internationally competitive. So basically, high inflation make the local goods more expensive compared to other countries' goods. So foreign consumers, they're less willing to buy goods from this country because it's more expensive. Therefore, there's lower exports compared to imports. So this will cause less cash inflow to the country, which causes slower economic growth. So let's see the against side. First point, demand pull inflation can increase total demand. Yes. So as national income increases, GDP increases, the consumer demand increases. So which encourage firms to increase investment to produce more output. Therefore, this stimulate the overall economic growth. Second point, when the consumption increases, there will be a higher indirect tax collected by the government. So these tax revenues, they can be used to provide subsidies to firms. So this is an example. There's many use of tax revenue. For example, can increase welfare benefits such as unemployment benefits, and in this case is to provide subsidy to firms. So to lower the cost of production of firms, this makes export cheaper and they'll become internationally competitive. So the economic growth increases. Why? Because the other countries' consumers were more willing to buy goods from this country because it's cheaper. Yeah. And here is an overview of how you can structure your essay. 4A. Identify 2 reasons why tax revenue is likely to fall during a recession. First is due to lower demand. Second is higher unemployment. So during a recession, most firms are going to lay off employees because a lot of firms, they will close down, or some may reduce the scale of their firm. Yeah, so they will cut costs. They will lay off employees. Okay, B. Explain 2 characteristics of money. Take note, this characteristic is not the function. So don't write like unit of account. This kind is the function. So this characteristic. First one, you can write widely acceptable. So people are willing to accept it as a payment. The second one is portable. So it's easy to carry. And there are many more. C. Analyze the advantages an economy may gain from having some of its people working in other countries. Okay, first, they can gain skills through training and bring back to own country. So imagine a local worker, they work in a foreign country and they come back. So the skills they gain, they can work for the local firms. This improves the productivity and innovation for the local firm. For example, like Japan, they have good skills in making cars. So the workers gain the skills and some knowledge. They may go back, for example, they come back to Malaysia and they will communicate with the employers, and they will share their ideas, so they can use their ideas to bring innovation and increase the international competitiveness of the local firm, which increases the economic growth also. Second, workers can send money back to their families. So sending back money is considered as a secondary income. So when this secondary income increases, this improves the current account imbalance of payment. So the formula of current account, one of the element is secondary income, and their family can use the money to buy more necessities, which reduces absolute poverty. Third, the workers can set up new firms, so they gain ideas in foreign country and they can return to our own country and start up a new firm. So this will create job opportunities and train workers. So this reduces unemployment and increases labor productivity. D. Discuss whether or not consumers would benefit from firms buying new capital equipment. So what is capital equipment? Such as machinery. This is an example. So first, it can increase efficiency. So like using machinery, more outputs are being produced in the same amount of time. So this lower the cost of production and increases revenue and profits. Okay. Second, this also can reduce mistakes or faults in the goods because the consistency of the products increases. So this makes the customer more willing to buy the product. For example, you can give an example like the sewing machine will produce a more consistent outcome than human sewing. So a tip to gain high score is also to give relevant example. So this will make you stand out from other candidates. No, why not? First, in the short run, the cost may increase and cause these economies of scale. So buying capital equipment, this basically will increase the cost of production. So firm will need to increase the price in the short run, or else they will earn lower profit. So basically, because capital equipment is very expensive, so firm need to increase the price to spread the cost, so to cover the cost basically. So however, increase in price may result in revenue drop. Second point, products are standardized and cannot meet specific consumers' demand. Standardized means the products are made similar. Like for example, you produce the Adidas sports shoes and there are like 1,000 of same Adidas sports shoes being produced in a factory. So standardized is often means that the firm shift to mass production. So it's not suitable for firms that provide customized goods. For example, like specialized gift. So this will lead to a problem is that they are unable to satisfy customer demand, so may lead to dissatisfaction and revenue decrease. And here is how you can structure your essay. Question 5. Identify 2 free goods: sunlight, air, and maybe rainwater. You also can give many other examples. B. Explain 2 influences on demand for factors of production. First one is, before that, you need to think about CELL, which is the factor of production, which is capital, enterprise, labor, and land. So you think about this. What can influence the demand of these 4 things? First, price of substitute factors of production. Example is that if price of machine which is capital increases, the demand for labor will increase because it is cheaper to use. So this means that when the price of machine increase, the demand for machine will go down, and demand for labor, because it's a substitute, it will increase. Okay. Second, about productivity. So higher productivity will be likely to increase the demand for labor. Alright, let's move on. C. Analyze the effect of an increase in demand for football shirts on demand for football shorts and demand for basketball shirts. So first, football shorts is a complement to football shirts. Complements are jointly demanded, which means they are bought together. Okay, remember to use jointly demanded. This is a term to describe complements. When demand for football shirts increases, demand for football shorts will increase as well. So, second, basketball shirts. It is a substitute to football shirt. Substitutes are used instead of each other. When demand for football shirts increases, the demand for basketball shirts will reduce. So when people buy football shirt, they will not buy basketball shirt. Okay. D. Discuss whether or not an increase in government spending on housing would benefit an economy. First, you have an argument for yes. First point, increase the affordability of houses. So government, they can provide low-cost housing to low-income group so they can afford to buy houses. So this gives them a shelter and improve their standard of living and reduce relative poverty. Second, it can increase the output in house building industry. For example, government provides subsidy to firms that build houses, like for example developers. So this will reduce the cost of production and when the cost of production is reduced, this creates incentive for firms to increase outputs. And when output increases, this increases GDP and economic growth. However, on the other hand, opportunity cost is incurred. Why is that so? So always remember, when the government is making a decision, in this case increasing government spending on housing, you must think there's no unlimited resources. When something increases, some resources must have reduced. So you can think about what are the examples. Okay, so increased government spending on housing means less resources allocated to other industry. For example, less funding for healthcare. Or you can talk about education or other welfare benefits. For example, unemployment benefits. Okay, in this case, we talk about healthcare first. So less healthcare means workers, when they are not fit to work, they can't they can't receive healthcare service. So this reduces the labor productivity. Or you can talk about this will increase the illnesses in older population. Also can. Second, tax may increase. So if the government wants to increase funding for housing, it will need to increase tax revenue. So this will reduce disposable income of people and increase burden on taxpayers. However, if the government cannot increase tax revenue, it may need to seek alternative and borrow from other countries, which increases the debt of government. And if government fails to repay, this may lead to bankruptcy. Okay, so an example of country that has bankrupt is Greece. So you don't have to write this, but it's just a general knowledge for you. So there's country also face bankruptcy. Alright, so here is the overview of how you can structure your essay for question 5. So here's the end of our episode. Hope this video helps you to tackle all these exam questions. Remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.